The Wales shirt is more than just a football shirt. I remember 21 years old, being given my debut. I remember putting the red shirt on, walking out in front of the fans, looking out, and the national anthem starts playing. The feeling like nothing else. The most special, special gift. Every shirt has its own story. I want to explore the stories that represent our history, our culture, and our future. You designed the Wales kit. How were you selected to be the one that goes forward with with designing the kit?
I think as a team we're quite privileged in the sense that we are able to dive into the cultural insights that we take from our countries and clubs. It's quite surreal because obviously you treat it as you would any other club or federation, but there's obviously a level of passion that goes into it. There's a lot of love to give as well. But it's also a bit of pressure because you want it to resonate back home. You want the red wall or anybody else looking into Wales to get the story, to feel the love as well. So I think on that there's a bit of pressure on your shoulders, but when it ultimately comes down to it, you get to design your national team's kit. It's surreal, but it's something that I grab with both hands, if I'm completely honest with you.
Yeah. I was the one in school. I'm drawing, this is my ideal Wales kit, and this is what I would love to wear, and this is the colors that I would choose. So tell me how that started. What's the first couple of days, say, to start the process of, okay, we're going to create a Wales shirt. How do we start?
So the first thing, first and foremost, is the seasonal direction. So for 18, it was about building speed, building that sort of motion. And then how we can incorporate that through graphics, through execution. So we wanted to create something that was fresh and new, something that was ergonomic for the players, something that was sports performance and ultimately aids the players first. And then it all comes down to aesthetic as well. So both components come in hand, and then it's obviously about the story.
This is a really special shirt because this is the first Welsh international shirt of John Charles, legendary Welsh striker, most famous of all time. And a debut in 1950 against Ireland, so that is his shirt from that game. Pretty special.
That is special.
In the kind of early internationals, Wales actually played in white, and it wasn't until 1902 that they decided on red would be with the Welsh colour. And then really through the sort of early 1900s, quite a simple design with the shirt. You've got the kind of rugby style collar, but you don't see any kind of branding or any stripes or patterns like you might do today. And then you would have like a nice embroidered, quite a big badge with the opponent and date on. And yeah, quite simple really.
What about this? What is this shirt here? Tell us a little bit about this one.
Yeah, so that's Swansea legend, Ivor Allchurch. So that's a shirt from the 60s, 63, 64, and a match against
straight away,
England.
Such a difference.
So that's just a bit lighter than John Charles as well. So you can see in that, and that's only sort of 10, 15 years. So it's moved on a bit with
and John Charles was
design.
a big man too. So
that's true. That's
we needed
true.
something to fit in.
So a bit slightly different designs. You've got the kind of round neck, which is another sort of
that's right.
common design, but still got the embroidered badge, really nice, with the opponent on. Also, first appearance maybe in Welsh as well, which wasn't there before, but still again quite a plain shirt and not got the patterns and different designs that we're used to today.
The idea was basically to create a jersey that we hadn't necessarily seen before, but obviously spoke sort of that sort of zeitgeist of Wales and what they sort of stand for. Spoke about the national identity, so the graphic sort of gives an impression or speaks that sort of dragon scale. So it's wearing that your dragon on your shirt.
Yeah.
So it's not just the crest, but obviously you're embodying the dragon. So it's something that, with the seasonal direction as well, and especially like trying to dive into that speed, that sort of motion.
Yeah.
That's where we created the graphic. But there's other undertones, there's other elements that we wanted to sort of represent Wales with. So Wales has a rich history in tapestry, fabrics, obviously, everything that sort of goes across St David's Day into to everyday life. So instead of creating a print on the jersey, we wanted to actually weave the fabric together to create this two-tone graphic. So you can see on this here, you get the colours running through. And it's the first time probably since 1990 that we've had an all-over graphic.
Yeah.
So again, it's sort of something that feels familiar, but at the same time, speaks volumes for the future generations as well. So it's the two components. I mean, in recent times, we've had a big resurge in 90s sort of zeitgeist, but it's definitely about making Wales stand out at the World Cup and something that belongs to them.
In Wales, there's such a close connection with the Wales shirt with fans. How is it, making sure that the fans feel ownership of, when they do get one or when they see it, they love it, they want to go out, they want to buy it?
Yeah, you have to cater for obviously our fans and like the red wall and stuff like that. But it's also, a fashion statement as well. Football shirts have come a long way from the early noughties, and now people don different people's clubs, different federations as well. So it's definitely about how it transcends from the stadium into the streets, and then how it's appropriated as well. So we look at trends, we look at things that are relevant today, fashion labels. We see a lot of collaborations and stuff like that, and it's about how we can then sort of sell Wales to the rest of the world. So it's it's putting Wales on a pedestal in that respect, but still trying to bring it home in terms of the that fashion-esque, that sort of savviness of the football shirt.
Back in sort of 50s, 60s, you wouldn't get fans wearing shirts in crowds. If you look at old crowd pictures, a lot of the people are suited and hats, and it wasn't the thing to wear a football shirt. Whereas now it's every game you go to, you expect to see people wearing the shirts, and that people can kind of get close to their favourite players in that way, and sort of look like them and stuff, even if they don't get a chance to kind of play on the pitch like the favourite players. It's not really until 60s, 70s that you'd start to see kind of scarves and club colours being worn, and then not really until the 70s before you sort of saw the replica kit being produced, and and people could actually buy it in the way they can now.
Today everybody thinks of replica kits being this big huge market, which they were, but you have to remember back then that was literally the beginning of it. In fact, it was so new that just so happens that the Newport MP at the time, I think it was Ron Hughes, he actually argued in Parliament to stop them doing replica kits because he said they're taking advantage of kids. You know what I mean? So it was so new that he thought it was wrong. But for a child on the receiving end of that, I loved all the brand and the logos, and the Admiral kits were really overtly bright. Everything was bright, everything was kind of branded, everything sort of said "buy me," and I kind of guess, like most kids all around the country, that's when we all started getting into replica kits.
The Admiral one, I believe, is the first one that had more than the red, had the yellow down the side, and then it was available to fans. Do you think that was like around that 70s is when people were kind of connecting up fashion, football, sport, and this fan culture of being able to buy the shirt?
Yeah, I think you're bang on. I think it was the beginning of it, and I think Admiral deserved, props or denigration, if you want, for whichever kind of the fence you're on seeing it. They saw that, and I think the interesting thing was for them, they realised that they literally went to art colleges. This is what they did. So normally everybody'd use like designers. They went to art colleges and they got people out of art college who knew nothing about football. They didn't want them to know about football. They wanted them to design it from a fashion sense.
Right.
So one of the big designers at Admiral at the time was a lady called Lindsay. I can't remember her second name. And she literally said, "What rules can I break?" And they said, "Well, as much as you like, except for these sort of two holy cows, you can't touch it." And she wanted to break every rule. And I think you see that with like the Admiral Wales kit was like, there hadn't been a shirt around like that before. The massive tram lines going down the chest, everything was kind of like aiming for you to be attracted to it. And like you said, I think the genius of that particular kit was adding the yellow and the green to the shirt, which we see everywhere. Every bucket hat, every game you go to now references that kit. So it started, that's why I kind of say that is the Helen of Troy for me, that shirt, because it sort of started the journey, especially with the Wales shirts.
Talk to me about the colours, the little details. Obviously, you got the little green on the side with the white. Talk to me about obviously choosing that.
So the green for me was fundamental in this. Like I said, we spoke about national identity. So the green of the flag, for instance, sometimes isn't as representative as it should be. So the key focus on this then was to try and bring that colourway through. And how we did that was by doing the binding. So the green binding across the jersey, but also then into the binding on the collar. There's a couple of nods. So the first one was when you think back to the 84 and the 87 jersey.
Yeah.
So you had the crest with the two outlines, but the dragon always sitting within. And there's something that subtly we wanted to bring through the jersey, so we kept it through the binding, which would be the outside, and then the green of the crest then obviously would sit. Yeah. And it's something then again on the jersey, when you put the two together, there's a really nice balance there. It's making the most of the green that we have, and I'm bringing it forward onto the pitch. What we wanted to do as well is bring that green into the away jersey, so the binding then equally on the away and the home, which means that the shorts then could be interchanged as well. So you get a full red outfit and a full white outfit as well. So when it comes to FIFA and obviously the World Cup, there's lots of different outfits that we can field as well. So there's it all goes together quite holistically.
Put it on the Welsh shirt for when you just, unless you've done it, and we're fortunate to have done it, you can't tell anybody. You can't explain it to anybody. Yes, everybody's got the passion and everything, but when you actually do that and you get your first touch of the ball and you do a good touch of the ball, then you feel $1 million. I think you can never ever tell anybody what that feeling is like.
The pride that when you wear that shirt for the first time is something that never escapes you, and the memories never escape. And I look back now and I think of the pride as well that my parents had for me wearing the shirt. And I'd say some of the selection that myself and Walsh brought just sort of bring those memories back. I can remember as well, after the game, actually taking the shirt away. Yeah. And put it in your bag, and it was like, whoa. And you just check in every 5 minutes that it was still there, type of thing, nobody pinched it. Yeah. And then you take it home, and then the first thing you do is take it out. Yeah. And it was, it was a great feeling. We've also got, We've got the tracksuit as well, which
This is amazing, by the way. It's
again, you know,
just
it's sort of
matching with the shirts. Yeah.
everything. And there were bottoms to actually sort of go with this as well.
Yeah.
So there would be like stripes down the side.
Oh, we used to wear them to the pub, Kurt, didn't we? We used to wear them down the pub.
Whilst the men's team were treated to these iconic 70s designs, it was a very different time for the women who were playing their first official internationals after the lifting of the ban.
I think it was more difficult in my era because women's football was not there. Girls' football was not there in the beginning. My first experience was when I played against England at 16 and we played at Watford. Now you can imagine we had a borrowed kit from the Welshmen. It just turned up in a bag and it was pick up what you can get and what fits you. So I ended up with Brian Flynn's and that was still too big for me. But I was still proud to put it on.
Yeah.
Didn't know at that time I was going to play until a manager comes in one day and goes, "You're playing today, mate?" I went, little old me, like, in a changing room with North Walian girls who was looking at me like this. Why is she playing? They'd give me the kit. I'd play in that kit and that kit would go back in the bag.
When it came to me then, I was obviously a little bit luckier. The training kit would be the men's. I actually trained in your kit. I trained in John Hartson's kit because they used to tell us because we'd want to know whose kit we're training in. And it was so exciting, yeah. And as a forward, obviously your kit was nicer to wear than John's because that was massive. No offence, John.
A little bit more fitted.
Yeah. But then obviously when it came to us having shirts, we had our own shirts. We get to keep those shirts. You could see the development already between, you know, a couple of years really. Well, a few more than that. But just unbelievable.
Oh, I can't tell you what that was like when I put my shirt on and come on my first cap. For me, I was like Gwennan. It didn't matter whose shirt I had. I was just putting the Welsh shirt on. I was getting that buzz. You know, I'm out on the field, I might look really scruffy, but it didn't matter because and like Gwennan say, as you get, you know, if it was raining or whatever, that shirt would get heavy, but it didn't matter because I'd get over that line no matter what happened with that badge on.
We talk about the challenges that each generation's gone through, and then now the girls are wearing their own Wales shirt. It's not a men's shirt that is worn by the women. How do you feel about that is now a reality?
It's growing, isn't it? And you got to realise those people that's wearing those shirts are still proud to wear those shirts. They've worked hard as probably as I worked. And when you come here and you see the capacity of the crowd, that's what makes me proud, that how it's developed.
You're looking around the stadium, but it's not just young girls that are wearing that shirt. It's boys wearing it as well, and that's the normality now behind the women's game. That it's just people supporting Wales. Anybody's coming to support Wales, whether it's women, whether it's the men. And it's lovely, like I've been here working at the men's games, and you'll see, well, adults as well, in the women's shirt, in the men's shirt. It doesn't matter, it's about representing Wales and supporting Wales. And I mean, I do like the fact they have got their own shirt because of the history and the tradition behind it, and I think it brings that identity. But for me, just in general, how the FAW have worked to try and just make sure that everybody's on the same page, one big family, I think is really special, the work they've done.
Tell us your thoughts now. You've finished. Obviously, you've seen it before everybody else. But when you did finish it and you got it in front of you, what was your thoughts right in that moment?
Well, I hope they play in the World Cup. I hope they qualify. I think that was the first and foremost.
Yeah.
But no, there's, you know, I've got to work on Wales for a couple of years now, and it's something that I'm extremely proud of. But it's something that, you know, I want to see a progression. I want to see, you know, Wales represented on the field in, you know, different garments and stuff that sort of like really like hits home. So I think it's creating the jersey is one thing, but creating a kit that hopefully is cherished in a couple of years' time is a big responsibility, but one that I fully embrace.
May the 14th, 2002, Wales versus Germany. My debut, my favourite Wales shirt. The joy and the special feeling that I had putting on the Wales shirt was like nothing else. It is memories like this that make our shirt so special, and that's why I love it.